Today on the newscast, a major and deadly terror attack in Jerusalem, plus Iran vowing revenge against Israel yet again. Get all the breaking details next. Hey folks, Erick Stakelbeck here. Welcome to the Watchman Newscast. We are getting ready here in the United States to celebrate Thanksgiving tomorrow, and yet I come to you today with a heavy heart. Yet another mass shooting here in the United States. Tuesday night, 6 people murdered in cold blood in a Walmart store in Chesapeake, Virginia. And then in Israel, this morning during the busy morning rush hour, and this is the main subject for the newscast today, 2 bombs were detonated at 2 separate bus stops at the entrance to the city of Jerusalem. At least 1 person was killed, a teenager, and some 26 more wounded. We pray those numbers don't increase. Now, we'll break down all the details around this deadly Jerusalem attack in a minute, but first, one way we can help Israel fight back against the likes of Hamas and Islamic Jihad is through supporting Israel's economy, which can be severely harmed every time there's a new terror wave. I'm thinking about Israeli small businesses in particular, which is why I have to tell you about my good friends at Artza. Now, we've been partnering with Artza for a while now here on the newscast because we really believe in what they are doing. Each Artza box features amazing products from a different city or region in Israel, all made in Israel by Israeli small businesses. The holidays are here, and Artza is now featuring a special Christmas box with beautiful handcrafted products made in Bethlehem, Nazareth, and Jerusalem, all pivotal places in the life of Jesus. Folks, this is a great gift for anyone in your life who loves God's land and wants to fulfill that biblical mandate to bless Israel as you support Israeli small businesses. Just go to artzabox.com and use the discount code WATCHMAN25 to get 25% off your Artza box subscription just in time for the holidays. Take advantage of that special 25% Artza box discount now. It's a good deal and a great cause, and we hope you enjoy it. Okay, let's break down this Jerusalem terror attack. The first time we have seen a deadly bombing attack in Jerusalem since 2016. As I come to you around 1 p.m. Eastern Time on Wednesday, November 23rd, no terror group has claimed responsibility for this attack yet, but we have Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad, the 2 Iranian proxies, praising it and calling for more attacks like it. Let's break down the details again real quick. Again, morning rush hour, 2 separate bus stops, and Israeli authorities believe both of these attacks obviously were linked. The 1 bomb was detonated around 7 a.m. Israel time. And at a separate bus stop not far away, another bomb was detonated a few minutes later. And again, carnage ensued. There were buses there. There were people congregated at these bus stops. Again, the morning rush hour, kids going to school, people going to work. The one fatality that we have is a 16-year-old kid, a teenager, was murdered in this bombing today in Jerusalem. He was a dual Israeli-Canadian citizen. He's now dead, and then 26 more at least wounded, some critically. We may have, God forbid, some more casualties, some more fatalities before this is all said and done, folks. So a terrible way to start the day in Jerusalem. Again, we don't have the perpetrators in custody yet, but this was par for the course during the Second Intifada, which raged in Israel at the courtesy of Hamas and other Palestinian terror groups between the years 2000 and 2006. That is why Israel had to build a security barrier to keep terrorists out, and the bombings declined massively once that barrier was built. But we had these bombs were planted today. Before we saw the suicide bombings during that Second Intifada, now these bombs were planted beforehand, before they were remotely detonated. Now again, the various Palestinian terror factions are praising today's attack, Chief among them, of course, the Iranian proxies Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad. They're saying this attack is in response to Israel supposedly, or Israelis supposedly defiling the Al-Aqsa Mosque and more Jews ascending the Temple Mount, the holiest site in Judaism. We've been talking about this on the newscast pretty regularly over the past few weeks, folks, and we mentioned it on yesterday's live stream. If you missed it, you can check it out here in our archives under newscast. We broke down how the Temple Mount will increasingly be a flashpoint and a trigger point going forward. Hamas is using the Temple Mount as an excuse to launch attacks against Israelis. Remember, the Dome of the Rock, the Al-Aqsa Mosque are atop the Temple Mount today, but thousands of years ago, the first temple, Solomon's temple, and the second temple where Jesus taught, where he chased out the money changers, they stood atop the Temple Mount. And more Jews are saying, this is our holiest site. Why can't we pray there? Remember, the status quo since 1967, when Israel reconquered Jerusalem and reunited their ancient and ancestral capital, the city of Jerusalem. The status quo agreed upon then was that Muslims would still control the Temple Mount. Jordan in particular, the nation of Jordan, they're the custodians of the Temple Mount, the Dome of the Rock, the Al-Aqsa Mosque. Well, more Jews are saying, why is that the case? Why can't we pray atop the Temple Mount? And you're seeing record numbers of Jews ascend the Mount. And Hamas, surprise, surprise, does not like that. They're using it as an excuse to launch attacks against Israelis. Okay, one more thing before we go. Iran, and this seems like a daily story, right, is once again vowing revenge against Israel. It seems every other day we're reporting of some new Iranian revenge vow, but now they are blaming the death of a top Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps officer. I've got his name here, Davoud Jafari. He was killed by a roadside bomb outside of Damascus, Syria in recent days. Now, you may be asking, why is an Iranian officer in Syria, in Damascus or near Damascus? Great question, because the Iranian regime is intent on establishing a permanent military and terror beachhead in Syria at Israel's doorstep to launch attacks against Israel and to transit weapons into the hands of its proxy Hezbollah in southern Lebanon so that they can launch attacks against Israel as well. Davoud Jafari was apparently in the wrong place at the wrong time, and he was killed in a roadside bomb. Here's the rub here. The Iranian regime is blaming Israel for his death, and they are vowing revenge against Israel. Now, the timing of this, and again, Israel has not claimed responsibility for this man's death. And again, he was a missile expert for the Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps, a member of the IRGC's Aerospace Division, and apparently he was involved in the seizure of 2 U.S. Navy command boats back in 2016. Do you remember that footage, folks? January 2016, under President Barack Obama here in the United States, where those U.S. Navy men were basically on their knees and held at gunpoint by Iranians who seized those ships in the Persian Gulf. A sad chapter indeed. He was apparently involved in that, was Jafari, the guy who was killed here by this roadside bomb. He even received a medal from Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, for that. I think the timing is interesting. We've been talking about the tit for tat, the shadow war between Israel and Iran. Well, about a week ago, we had an Iranian attack, an Iranian drone, flown into an Israeli-owned oil tanker off the coast of Oman. We reported that here on the newscast. So Jafari, the timing of his death is interesting, needless to say. We will be watching all of this very closely. We can't take any Iranian vow of revenge lightly, certainly. So if anything breaks, we will come to you here in the days to come on the Watchman Newscast. In the meantime, folks, keep these victims of terror in Jerusalem in your prayers. Pray for a full recovery for them. Pray for the family, the loved ones of this young man, this 16-year-old kid who was killed. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. It is a biblical mandate. Hey, happy Thanksgiving here. We thank God for all of you, our watchmen and women on the wall, our loyal subscribers. We've got a lot to be thankful for. We're just getting started for such a time as this in these Bible times in which we are living. God bless you, and until next time, remember, never hold your peace. Hey everyone, thanks for checking out the Watchman Newscast. If you enjoyed this episode and want to see more, make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, click subscribe, and tap the bell icon to turn on notifications for new Watchman Newscast episodes every weekday.